I don't know how much of a chance I'm going to have to get these to survive, but my carrot seeds didn't germinate that well. Then we had that heat wave that killed off some of these smaller leeks that I planted in here. And now I want to fill in the blanks with these celeriacs. And it's been hot. I've been kind of dragging my feet, but it's going to remain hot for the foreseeable future. So I'm going to take some of these out of here and transplant them. I can put row cover over the top for shade during the heat of the day. So I'm going to give it a try, see what happens. I planted those celeriac in the afternoon. We have a wall of hazelnuts over here that cast shade into this area in the later afternoon hours. And that's when I planted them, when I knew it was going to be shady the rest of the day. Then we had the entire evening last night, and everything's cooled down now. And they look really good. But I know that's not going to last long because their roots aren't really established yet. So when the sun starts to shine on them in a couple hours, I'll put some row cover hoops over the bed, and I'm going to cover them with a white sheet. And I'll just cover them from, say, 9 o'clock until that shade comes again, then I'll take it off. So 6-7 hours. And I'll do that for a couple days, and by then they should be good. Lots of water, and off we go. And I didn't really want to do this, but the leeks had a hard time through a heat period about 3 days after I planted them, and I'd say more than half perished, and I didn't get that good of carrot seed germination this time. But if this works out, it'll even be better because I've added a third crop to that middle compost bed. Actually, there's 4 because this is a volunteer that was coming up somewhere and I don't know what it is. We're gonna find out. It's 9:30, 10 o'clock or something, and the sun is really starting to beat in here. I went ahead and got some of my row cover wires and stretched them out here along the bed of leeks, carrots, and now celeriac. And the reason I put the sheets over is because I transplanted the celeriac in here last night, yesterday afternoon, something like that. So now it's going to keep the sun off. Now when it gets to be 2 o'clock or so, I'll flip this over because I've got it open here now on this side. And when the sun starts to come in from this side, then I'll flip this over and put the other side up. And then when the shade comes in here, I'll take it off entirely. And if I do this again tomorrow, I think then that'll protect these plants pretty good. Good enough. They look nice. Yeah, they really do. So they've had a couple hours of sunlight this morning already. At least this part of the bed has, because the other part of the bed is shaded by that apricot. And they've withstood those couple hours, but in the morning time you have insolation to factor in. The sun's coming through more atmosphere. And when it gets to be 10 o'clock, between 10 and 2, it's like there isn't a lot of atmosphere that those sun rays are coming through anymore, and it's directly full on. These little tender plants that were just transplanted, they're not ready for that. I don't know, maybe they're tough enough. Maybe I should leave a few out. But I'm not gonna, I'm just gonna do this. So I'll do it again tomorrow and we'll see what the conditions are gonna be on Monday. So now it's 1 o'clock and I flipped it around. Now it'll be about, I don't know, 3:30, 4 o'clock, and we'll have shade. And I'll take it off and water them all. So these were just under some deep shade because I had it on this side, and they're all looking pretty good. They'll get a little sun here, but as the earth spins, it'll less than probably 15 minutes they'll be in the shade. There's a couple back here that I didn't get covered. They're actually doing pretty good. But man, it's hot. I don't want to stress these things out. It's in the 90s right now. So you see everything's kind of droopy.
think it's like 88 or 89 degrees, corn stops growing. So probably a lot of this stuff stops growing as well. No, most of the bed is in the shade now. We have a little bit of sun on the edge. That won't be there for long. You can tell it's hot today. The kohlrabi's a little droopy. Peppers look really happy. Look at the peppers. Just look at the peppers, peppers, peppers. Get out of there. Come on, get up here. Gotta see it. There. There's a whole bunch of them on here. 3, 4, 5 of them. There's 5 big ones on there. It likes the spot. Only one in that one. Here's some jalapenos. They're ready to pick. Got set onions mixed in with the peppers. They're pretty lively. Oh, here we got a nice big pepper. This is a red one. Oh, I don't know what this is back here. That's a volunteer. I didn't even notice it. We'll have to find out what it is. I'll leave it grow. Climbing peas. More peppers. Volunteer tomato. This is my experiment with the black salsify, and that little woodchuck came in here and ate them down, but they're springing back. A little bit of garlic. The bills. Pretty soon I'm going to be able to take those and store them up for the winter. Skirret. More skirret. I'm nursing a Italian hazelnut in here, as well as a gooseberry. There's a little bit of garlic, and then behind that is edible burdock. Over the top is an apricot. Again, we get all of these kohlrabi. As soon as they begin to ball up, is probably even half the size of a hard ball, I'll start to harvest them. Now look at this one, is not responding very well. Something's wrong with it. That rhododendron came in here and ate a bunch of stuff. We've got onions in here. These are storage onions. Corn. That's the Loft House Paradise Sweet Corn. Achira. They're both mixed in here together. There's a few climbing peas in here. The end bed here is a mixture of both last year's and this year's compost. And then all these long beds here, like where the kohlrabi is, that is pure compost from this year. I'm running out of batteries. And here's the second bed. And now it's a very diverse planting. I was originally just wanting carrots and leeks, but we had a leek problem with heat that killed off quite a few of the little ones. And the carrots didn't have that great a germination. So what we have now is this celeriac that I've added to the diversity. I think that's really cool. They made it through the whole day of heat with the help of the sheets, keeping the heat off. I was going to water them tonight, but I decided I'm going to wait till the morning because I put my finger in next to them and it's got good moisture yet. So I think we're good until tomorrow. Probably good for another day, but I'm going to water them tomorrow anyways. I'm going to water everything. And it's looking pretty nice. Really filled in the spots. So along with this bed of Achira Paradise Sweet Corn and climbing beans, we also have a squash growing. So now we can call it the Four Sisters. Another climbing bean. This is Achira. This is an edible canna. The leaves are edible. Inside, and if you pick them when they're just coming out like this, you actually want them to be a little bigger, like right here. They taste just like beans. And the leaves don't taste like anything really, just kind of a green leaf. But that's probably how they rolled up their burritos and all that when they grew them. That's who grew them, were the natives in the Southwest. and down into Mexico. And then we have tomatoes. I have a cattle panel here tied up onto these posts, and we're going to thread those tomatoes through these cattle panels. That one is actually a white tomato, so I got it here where I know it's going to be more shade. If it gets too much sun, then the tomatoes turn yellow. Oh, look at those. Those are the beetles that are eating those squash leaves. Those two aren't going to be breeding anymore. I thought they were, there it is. Got it. Thought they were flea beetles eating it, but it's these little things. Ah. Okay. Now I know I'll keep squishing them when I see them. Somebody told me that I squished a beneficial beetle, so now I'm afraid to squish the beetles. I won't be afraid to squish that one anymore. So, and here we have a lineup of blush onions. That's a storage onion. And then these tomatoes here, you can see like this one has made it to the cattle panel, and I start threading it. So it'll probably, I'll work it back and forth up here, get some space into it. Hopefully it'll grow all the way to the top. These are mostly cherry tomatoes. These last three are a bit larger tomatoes. But these cherries I'll thread around, the larger ones I'll just kind of weave back and forth this way. Like this, like this. There we go. I'll just weave it like that. And I'm clipping off all the leaves. I don't want any leaves at least 2 feet, maybe up to here. No leaves, and then the leaves are here up, so we can get it away from the soil. There's a mold in the soil that will jump up and give the tomatoes a blight. And then this last row over here we have climbing beans. That's the only climbing bean that made it last year. You can see the old stem. And all of these climbing beans that are growing now are all coming from that one climbing bean. I had planted like 20 or 25 seeds in here, and that's the only one that made it past the slugs, all the rain last year. So I don't know if it has something special chemical wise, or it just grew fast enough. But it had some quality, and the slugs were on it, but it had some quality that it just grew right past them. Then we have skirret. That's these leaves right here. There's a comfrey growing in this area. I have my grandma's onions growing in here. They're making babilles. They like to lay on the ground. It's a form of Egyptian walking onion. There's a sea berry that rooted up here. I got a sea berry just over there a little ways, so it probably came from the roots. You know, more climbing beans. There's climbing beans all the way along here. I think there's like 15 plants growing here in here now. There's a squash that I planted. Here's a Shishandra vine right there that's growing. It's trellising its way up. Ooh, now you can see how dirty my lens is. So this is a volunteer tomato. I just took some onions out of this little bed for soup. Here's another squash. This is a white salsify that's gone to seed. And here we have a bed of tomatoes and peppers, which are companion plants, and then beans, which are not. And I want to see if that bean is affected by these tomatoes or these peppers, or vice versa. And of course we got some of Grandma's onions in here. And one more plant that I didn't highlight, it's this Juliet here in the corner. And we got some fruit set here, big time. This was the fastest one to ripen last year. So I don't know if that's a little bit of blight happening here or not, I don't know. But I've been clipping these off. Tomorrow morning I'll clip again. I've been clipping these lower ones off. So I clipped these two off. I won't have a leaf for 3 feet off the ground. But this Juliet grows like crazy. It's an indeterminate. It just keeps growing. So I'll probably have to trellis it up as high as those Swedish soup peas, which are like over 8 feet tall now. I think this tomato here could probably go 12 or 15 feet tall. We'll find out, because I'm going to trellis it however far it wants to grow. So that's a review of our composting area that we've converted into a growing area using the compost that I made this year. So contrary to what you will read on the internet about using too much compost, it's all about the method. The methodology of aerobic compost, in that I'm turning it every couple of days, every 3 days. This time I did a few sessions, continuing to add oxygen to that pile. It's a whole different set of bacteria that eats the material, and you're able to grow crops in it purely. If there is such a thing as too much compost, it should be affecting these crops right now, and it doesn't. This is the 3rd year. So at some point I can say the experiment is over. So I'm going to say it. The experiment is over. That composting method I learned during my permaculture design course is a winner. All right. Thanks for watching.